Pokemon Omega Ruby has only a handful of Ice-type Pokemon. They're all in the late game, and they share the same locations, meaning I can't even get every single Ice-type. So how could I possibly attempt a Nuzlocke like this? Well, the answer is events. There are a handful of Ice-type Pokemon that are distributed for ORAS, and that handful will be my saving grace. Yeah, it opens up the variety a little bit, but I still have to tackle boss after boss while at a significant type disadvantage in almost every single fight. Nevertheless, I'll be attempting a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Omega Ruby, and I'll be doing my best to make it to Steven with only Ice-type Pokemon. I begin my journey by picking Trico as my starter to let May end up with Torchic. Then I head to the Pokemon Center to pick up my first and only Pokemon for quite some time. First, I get Popsicle, an Amara given out for participating in an online competition who has Snow Warning. Unfortunately, Aurora Veil and Snow Synergy doesn't exist yet, but this is still very nice. Next is Froyo, the Snow Cloak Glaceon given out in Japan Pokemon Centers to celebrate your birthday. And finally, Snow Cream the Delibird joins the team thanks to another online competition. Definitely a wide variety of quality here, but these three will make do. I'm so lucky that they were given out at level 10. Unsurprisingly, the very beginning of this game is pretty forgiving to ice types, and Popsicle and Froyo are able to pave the way to Roxanne. Snow Cream was taking a lot of notes. It's no secret that ice types don't typically fare well in the rock types, but Roxanne's should be an exception. Geodude's weak to ice thanks to its ground typing, and Nosepass's physical bulk won't protect it from icy winds and powder snows. But it doesn't take long for me to realize that I have a major hurdle to overcome. Since these Pokemon weren't originally mined, and I have no badges, Popsicle leads by turning away and getting crit by Rock Tomb. Great. Then, instead of attacking, she hurt herself in confusion. Well, at least I tried. Froyo and I came to an agreement for the Geodude, but she decided that attacking the Nosepass was a step too far, and eventually dies as well. And Snow Cream, well, you get it. For attempt 2, I look and pray that there's a way around this without relying on RNG over and over, and it turns out, with 0 badges, Outsider Pokemon will still obey up to level 10. Okay, so I just need to make it to Roxanne without leveling up at all. My Pokemon get boosted experience since I'm not the original trainer, but on my second run through, Snow Cream puts his notes to good use and takes out every mandatory trainer with present, leaving Froyo and Popsicle safely underleveled for the gym. This time around, the level 10 Popsicle nearly one-shots the Geodude with Powder Snow. Then, after we take a Rock Tomb that doesn't crit, Roxanne spends her turn wasting a potion, letting me preemptively send in Froyo to pick up the kill. Then against Nosepass, our Icy Wind is a solid 4-hit kill. Yikes. The hail actually helps out a lot here. The Nosepass still appears to be out damaging us, but after a Norenberry heal, even another Rock Tomb wouldn't have killed. Though I'm not complaining about the tackle. Froyo doesn't miss her Icy Wind, and Badge 1 is all ours. I don't like how close that got, but ideally, we won't be back here anyways. Right? The extra room we have for leveling is pretty nice now, since the next level cap is only 2 levels higher. Especially when you consider that every trainer in the fighting type gym is required. But before I head there, I have to talk to the president of the Devon Corp, who gives me the mission to meet up with his son Steven and begin my spiral into despair. No matter how good I feel about the run, around every corner, Steven always shows up to remind me of what's to come. But I don't meet him until after the second gym in this game, so I hoof it straight to Brawly. With Popsicle being 4 times weak to fighting types and Snow Cream being Snow Cream, it's all up to Froyo to get through this gauntlet. The gym trainers did make me worried, but since their AI is bad and we don't miss any Icy Winds, Froyo gets by with only a couple scratches. There isn't much I could do differently to prepare for Brawly. The only real difference here is that Froyo will be able to reach the level cap and still listen to me, so everything will lie in her little paws. Brawly first sends out Machop, and I assume this guy would be bulky enough to live at least 1 attack, but Froyo pops off and lands a 1-hit kill. Makihita comes out and barely lives on 1, and in retaliation hits us with a sand attack. Oh boy. After Brawly heals, they sit comfortably while we miss an Icy Wind. We land the next one, but once again they hold on and lower our accuracy again. Quick Attack has a slightly higher accuracy than Icy Wind, so we go for that. But it still wasn't accurate enough. Makihita then knocks off our berry, meaning a little bit of good RNG with Arm Thrust could cause another reset. Another quick attack misses, and they go for the Arm Thrust. And it hits twice. Whew! After that, our quick attack finally lands, and Froyo wins us another gym badge. That was close, but I think I'm starting to feel good about this run. Oh! Hey, Steven. Yeah, I agree. Rocks are so cool. Over at Slateport City, I have my first and only stress-free meeting with Team Magma. No matter where I am after this, they're a big threat. But for now, I spam my silly little snow attacks and take my silly little snowmons and leave. When people describe the following rival fight as a game-ending encounter, I normally believe them, but I never really felt the same way. But this time around, I have never been more nervous. Because I chose Trico, May will be running Wailmer, Shroomish, and Combusken. All three are super effective into Popsicle, Froyo's also very weak into Combusken, and Snow Cream... There are a few more items available to me, such as the Lax Incense, which could help Froyo and her Snow Cloak evade some attacks, but it isn't reliable. It's Mauville City that gives me the usable TMs and better items. And this fight is the one thing standing in our way. My lead this time, as a matter of fact, is Snow Cream. While Present has a chance to heal, it also has a chance to have 120 base damage. Leading this way also leaves the other two healthy for their matchups. Present 1 is launched and brings them to almost half. Their Whirlpool and residual damage poses an immediate threat though. Present 2 brings them to the yellow, and their Crit Astonish activates our Oran Berry. Snow Cream then uses Thief, which will for sure kill them in this range, but our Hustle ability, while boosting our attack, makes the Thief miss. Wailmer uses another Whirlpool, and... we live on 1! The next Thief takes them down and brings in... Combusken? Oh, I don't know why I thought she'd save her for last. Well, my plan was to send out Popsicle in front of the Shroomish to set up the Hail and boost Froyo's evasion, but it's fine. I'm not sure if they go for Flame Charge or Double Kick here, so instead of risking Popsicle to set up the Hail, I go straight to Froyo. And it was the right call. With our limited amount of turns, Froyo sends it and uses as many Icy Winds as she can, and even lands a crit. But at this point, it just isn't enough, and I'm forced to take a wild chance and switch into Popsicle to set the Hail. They are using Flame Charge to counteract the speed drops from Icy Wind, but I miscalculated and thought we could outspeed even now. It turned out I was wrong, and Popsicle perishes. Froyo joins the battle once more, and fires off an Icy Wind that barely doesn't kill. Then, through our Snow Cloak, Combusken lands the Flame Charge, taking out Froyo. And Snow Cream actually kills the Combusken, but in the face of Shroomish, it just isn't enough, and Attempt 2 quickly concludes. On Attempt 3, I realized that the only reliable way to get past this fight is to Eevee Train. Normally I refrain from that, aside from in difficulty hacks or newer games like Scarlet and Violet, where the game expects it of you to varying degrees. In this case, I'm making an exception, and will be using the Super Training feature to max out whatever stats I need. That alone won't win these matchups for me, but it'll for sure move the needle at least a little in our favor. With the commitment to EVs, Froyo's boosted HP, physical defense, and special attack lets her solo Roxanne's gym, along with Brawly's. This part of the game is pretty trivial now, and poses zero threat. By the time I get back to May, Snow Cream locks in against the Wailmer, and hits the max roll with Present, letting him get the kill with Thief a turn later. This is perfect, because now Popsicle can safely set the Hail, since Snow Cream's HP only baits the neutral Flame Charge. And it pays off, because then Froyo joins the fight by dodging the next Flame Charge. Our boosted EVs then let our damage trades work a little more in our favor, up until they get in the red. Froyo should live an attack, but they opt for Sand Attack. Oh no. The Hail stops, as well as our evasion chances, and our quick attack misses, which lets them fire off another Flame Charge. Froyo holds on, and just needs to land one more quick attack. But it wasn't meant to be. With Froyo gone, I knew it was as good as over, and just reset. On attempts 4 and 5, I get back to May pretty easily, but Snow Cream just isn't able to make it work, and falls before taking out the Wailmer. Attempt 6 has a little more fortune, as we're able to take them out while still in the green. Once again, I predict Popsicle could safely set up the Hail, and Froyo enters the field, dodging an attack. We're back. We then dodge an early sand attack, which is huge. And because they never go for it again, Froyo the 6th finally takes out the Combusken. Shroomish is last, but that just means that we can finally exit the early game. I wish we could revel in this colossal victory, but Watson's Electric Gym just so happens to house 2 Steel types. There's no break here, and this game has only just begun. Now, even though Snow Cream is part flying, there is a chance that we won't get one-shot by the lead Magnemite. The plan here is to live that first hit, and use his EV'd speed to begin a train of power-up punches that won't only boost the attack stat as is, but also get boosted by the metronome that we picked up from a strange man. Of course, we'd be risking misses thanks to Hustle, but if this strategy pays off, we'll only have to land it 5 times. Time to shine, Snow Cream. This is what it's all about! The match begins and Snow Cream fires off his super effective power-up punch onto the Magnemite, sending them into the yellow. In retaliation, they use Thunder Wave. Oh. Well, our speed is still significant, and we haven't taken any damage yet, so... Drats. Rest in peace, Snow Cream. You should have got an evolution. Fortunately, Popsicle recently gained access to Bulldoze, so we aren't out of options. Voltorb was the one to come in after the Volt Switch, so they just use Volt Switch themselves to send in Magneton, who gets hit by the 4 times effective attack for free. This makes Watson want to heal after the Hail Chip, and since they get hit again, Popsicle simply outspeeds them and gets the kill. Magnemite and Voltorb are very quick to follow, and that is Gym Badge number 3. It was at the cost of Snow Cream, but I'll move on. It's what he would have wanted. There are a couple more encounters with Team Magma before the next gym fight. And since Tabitha's biggest threat is just a Numel in both of his fights, I only really have to focus on Maxie. He debuts Camerupt, and I'll have to take down at least his Mightyena to get to him. Of course, Lava Plume is an issue, but he also has Earth Power for Popsicle, whose Rock typing makes Fire type attacks hit neutrally. I end up taking the risk, and go into the fight with Froyo at the level cap. I'll need all the stats I could get, and am willing to bench her for the Fire Gym if it means making it to the Fire Gym at all. Before Froyo is able to take down the Mightyena, they land a cheeky Snarl. Only 1 decrease to the attack stat should be fine though, because Froyo is holding on to the very same metronome that rested in Snow Cream's wings. The added damage for repeated moves is huge. Camerupt enters the field right away and... we get a critical hit! Cool! Golbat quickly follows, and now Froyo is at the level cap for the next gym. We would have taken them out in 2 hits, and the Camerupt's minus special attack nature would have helped us tank their lava plumes, but of course, we could have missed our attacks. I'm just glad that it's over. Hope I don't have to do that battle again for any reason. So, Flannery and her Fire-type gym. With Popsicle alone, you're probably wondering how I can make this work. Well, first, the renovated gym makes it very easy to dodge most of the trainers. The only mandatory one only has an overheating Numel who gets crit by Aurora Beam. Alright, well, it was just a Numel, we would have been fine anyways. Second, I can make this work because even though Popsicle is so slow, they still outspeed every single one of Flannery's Pokemon. And we happen to have learned a very nice Rock-type move. Our fight begins strong with Ancient Power being able to easily one-shot the Slugma. We don't get the Omni Boost, but that's okay because once again, the Metronome will be making up for it. Her Numel lives a hit, but only sets up the Sunny Day in return. Flannery then heals, which just gives our Metronome time to build, and we take them down immediately after. Then, because Torkoal isn't too specially defensive, she goes down just as easily. If you told me that Flannery would be the easiest of the first 4 gyms, I would have asked how you got in my house. Norman is blocked by 2 trainers who aren't problems thanks to Popsicle's Rock typing, followed by a revenging Zangoose. But they always spend the first turn using an item, so Froyo can join back and lower their speed for free, take them out a turn later, and just barely stay within the level cap. Good job guys, we are cutting it real close though. Now Norman has 2 slacking, and people usually cheese them with Protect. I do not have Protect, but I do have Dig. The slacking are faster than Froyo though, and the first one gets to land a Yawn for free. But Froyo wakes up with a Chesto Berry and begins our rampage. After a turn 1 Icy Wind, we commence our dig spamming. Because Slacking can only attack us on the turns that we're underground now, they quickly go down. Vigoroth isn't quite as bulky and quickly follows, and the last Slacking only gets a single Retaliate off before we spam some digs and get the win with Icy Wind. The Retaliate didn't do too much because we were able to sneak in a barrier when the first Slacking was healing. Man, I was really expecting this run to fall apart a couple more times before we got to this point. But the fact alone that we made it this far is kind of insane to me. And there's a little break in between the bosses, so we can finally relax and enjoy ourselves a little. Oh, hi Steven. Steven appearing butterfly effects into a double battle against Courtney, but because it is a double battle, the lava pluming Camerupt isn't as scary, and it's over in no time. So I was getting pretty nervous for this late game. There are still quite a few scary boss fights, and if we wipe, I don't know if I'll be as lucky as I have been on any new attempts. I decided to do some research, and apparently I could have had another encounter by now. And don't hate me, but I could have had it from the start. But honestly, I'm glad I didn't, because Rodom seems to pop up a lot in my playthroughs. And I don't think it would have made as much of a difference. Aside from the May fight, maybe? This Rodom event comes from Japan, and you earn it by playing a certain arcade game. I didn't notice it at first because it said it was for X and Y, but it began a month before ORAS came out, and was still accessible by the release. Welcome in, Freeze Pops. Welcome to the Weather Institute. There seems to be some kind of disturbance on the second floor, but I'm a professional. I'm not easily rattled. Okay, lady. The Weather Institute houses yet another Team Magma fight, with Tabitha's only Pokemon being Camerupt. But with Froyo's newly acquired Mirror Coat, we can easily live one hit, not counting crits, and retaliate by sending it right back to him. Now I can pick up the first non-event Pokemon of the run, Soft Serve the Castform. A rule for Castform is that I can only use its Snow form, so it'll have to set up no matter what if the Hail isn't already out. But it's a lot of work for one Mon. She might be spending a lot of time on the bench. You're welcome. Oh, that's actually a really nice skiff. Thank you. May wants to battle again, but thanks to the rain and the fact that her Pokemon remain unevolved, Freeze Pops easily solos the fight, making me wonder how many fewer attempts we would have been on. It's the same story for Winona. Surprise, surprise. My levitating electric ice fridge sweeps yet another team, earning us Gym Badge number 6. The level cap from here skyrockets all the way to level 45. I personally don't think you're actually meant to reach that level, as the level cap only raises by 1 from Gym 7 to 8, and then there's the whole climax of the story left to do in that time also. That makes the 7th gym only having 2 Pokemon make more sense to me anyways. Regardless, Popsicle gets to finally evolve. It's been so long now that I honestly didn't even consider it being a thing. Additionally, I can begin using the Glalie that I got from playing the demo version of ORAS. Her name is Philadelphia, and she's holding a Megastone. There's another fight against Courtney, but her Camerupt doesn't have any fire attacks anymore. Oops, I guess. Then I head to Lily Cove City and challenge May for the very last time. Her Pokemon are all fully evolved now, and Blaze Kicks are gonna hurt. Popsicle takes the lead against her Swellow, but switches out into Freeze Pops. They use Double Team on the switch and then land a resisted Aerial Ace, but the Hail makes Blizzard 100% accurate, and they stand no chance. Blaziken comes out, but only uses Quick Attack since we must have outsped, I guess. As a result, Soft Serve comes in for free with the help of Volt Switch, and doesn't have to worry about the Hail ending thanks to the Icy Rock we were gifted. Then Soft Serve lands a Hydro Pump. Yeah, she gets that already. Blaziken goes down, and I never have to worry about it again. Soft Serve then damages the Whale Lord to weaken their water spouts, before Freeze Pops rejoins the fight to finish them off. Last is Breloom, and Philly makes her debut by very handily getting a one-shot with Ice Fang. GG's, May. You are way nicer than Brendan when he's the rival. After another fireless battle against Courtney, I finally head to Shoal Cave to catch a wild Ice type. On the ground floor, there's only one option, and I end up running into and catching Sherbert the Celio. He is absolutely crucial for this endgame. For his ability, I'd love for him to have Ice Body and be able to heal with our Hail, but Thick Fat is nice too. His first big battle is accompanied by Philadelphia, where they take on Tate and Lisa. They're underleveled, so I could still use them for the Team Magma stuff, but they should be alright. Philly leads with a Protect, and the Soul Rock surprises me and outspeeds Sherbert to hit him with Rock Slide. Then Lunatone sets a Light Screen. The second worst case scenario is realized, and Sherbert gets flinched, preventing the Sea Incense boosted Surf from landing. So, along the way, I've come to the realization that not only are the boss Pokemon not EV trained, but they also almost all have 0 IVs across the board. That, along with the AI being a little too nice to you, Blaziken, it made me start believing people when they said these games are a little too easy. Anyways, I got comfortable and thought that Sherbert would simply outspeed the 2 space Pokemon. It didn't happen. Obviously they have a higher base speed, and now I'm in trouble. Philly is at full HP, and Sherbert will live another Rock Slide as long as there's no crit, and Lunatone just continues to set up. I figure that the odds are in our favor, and block in our moves. Philadelphia outspeeds and lands a super effective crunch on the Soul Rock. They of course fire off another Rock Slide as Lunatone sets up Calm Mind. Sherbert then uses Surf and takes out Soul Rock, leaving Lunatone in the green and Philly in the red. But that's okay, I double switch into the OGs Popsicle and Froyo. Froyo doesn't take the Psychic too well, so Freeze Pops takes her spot as Popsicle uses Blizzard. Then, if that wasn't enough, it gets the Freeze. Tate and Lisa use a Hyper Potion, but since it's no full restore, and the screens fade away, a couple Blizzards do the trick, and win us the 7th Gym Badge. Let's go! Hey Steven. Don't worry, haven't forgotten about you. It's finally time to take down Team Magma once and for all. The grunts aren't much of a threat, so it isn't too long before I stand before Maxie. There are 3 Pokemon that I'll have to take down to get to his Camerupt, and on top of that, it uses Mega Evolution. But unbeknownst to Maxie, this will actually be his downfall, because that means I'm allowed to use a Mega of my own. My Mega Keystone begins to shine, and Philadelphia Mega evolves right out the gate. Mightyena isn't running Intimidate, but still somehow lives in Ice Fang. But Scary Face doesn't bother us as we just use Ice Shard. The Weezing takes that personally and uses Explosion, but Philly is still sitting comfortably in the green. Crobat is insanely fast, but isn't quite strong enough in front of our Mega, and quickly meets an icy end. Last is Maxie's Mega Camerupt, but Sherbert is able to live 1 Rock Slide every day of the week. Then all it takes is 1 Surf to finish the fight and end Team Magma for good. However, there is still one last thing to do. Groudon has awoken, and Rayquaza isn't interested in helping us out today. It's up to me to stop him, but for full transparency, I'd like to talk about how I handle the Legendary. Starting with Pokemon Black and White, the games began forcing you to catch the box art Pokemon in order to continue the story. That's true up through Scarlet and Violet, but the remakes technically let you defeat the Legendary in battle. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense to be consistent and use the Master Ball and get the fight over with, especially considering I only have a team of Ice types. And Groudon's Desolate Land won't even let Sherbert use his Water-type moves. But that's not what we're doing today! Groudon isn't an Ice type. I can't catch it. We're defeating this super ancient Pokemon, and nothing will stand in our way. Freeze Pops leads with slightly new stats thanks to the EV lowering berries from the Berry Master, so they can always outspeed and immediately set up the sub. The random wild Pokemon AI uses Precipice Blades, but we're immune and get to keep the sub up. We then attack with Blizzard, and luckily it doesn't miss, while they break our sub with a Lava Plume. Next turn we just set it up again, and Groudon uses Earthquake. We miss the next Blizzard, so it just puts itself to sleep with Rest. This is good and bad. Even though we land the next Blizzard and put them into the yellow, I can't afford any more misses. I forgot to add Shadow Ball to Freeze Pop's moveset to cover for this, so if we run out of Blizzards, I'll have to hard switch into someone else and hope that the RNG is in my favor. Blizzard number 4 fires off, and misses. We're left with one, and it's a damage roll. Not to mention, Groudon can still just use rest again when it wakes up. I cross my fingers, and Blizzard number 5 lands on the Groudon and is just enough to knock them out. Primal Groudon is defeated. I really considered using the Master Ball there, but I know I would have regretted it. And oh man, this just felt so much better. Before I challenge the final gym, I take a quick detour to Route 125 to get a new encounter. The defeat of Groudon triggers more Pokemon to appear with the Dex Nav, and I get Dondurma the Seal with this expansion. On to Wallace, his fight is nothing compared to the rest of the game. Philly takes out Love Disc, Sherbert Toxic stalls Milotic, Freeze Pops ices Whiscash, and Volt switches the Celio to let Philly get another kill, and Dondurma has the fight of her life as she challenges Seeking to prove that Dugong is the best forgettable Gen 1 water type. She wins, by the way, which then sets the final level cap of the run and gives me access to the final Eventmon. Once again, it's a Japan-exclusive event where the Pokemon Center was distributing Pokemon that Evil Team bosses used, and Moosetrax the Weavile used to belong to Cyrus. Don't worry, Moosetrax, you're in good hands now. All that's left is to get through Victory Road, and Moosetrax makes that a little easier. We have a few mandatory trainer battles against some frightening fighting-type Pokemon, but we skate by because we've been preparing for an even scarier fighting type. A particular Mega Gallade that is owned by a particular Wally. Of course, his Altaria is taken care of by Moosetrax, and I wanted him to take care of the rest of the team too before the Mega. But Magneton had different plans and lives with a Sturdy to paralyze us with Discharge. Thinking on my feet, I send in Freeze Pops to take the kill. Roselia comes out next, so before we take them out, I try to set up the substitute. It breaks, but we get another kill and try it again in front of the Delcatty. This time we keep up the sub through the knockout, and Gallade comes into Mega. This is great, because now we get to use Shadow Ball for free, and outspeed and do 75%? Okay, these guys are begging for like a crumb of stat investments. Like, any. Thanks to our EV training specifically for Groudon, Freeze Pops continues to outspeed and gets the kill with another Shadow Ball. I had this whole plan where my Pokemon had Protect and Chople Berries to weaken the close combat damage and stall them out, but you know what? Sub Rotom works too. My Frosty team and I have finally made it to the Elite Four. I want to say that I didn't think it was possible, but Steven is right around the corner, and I can't afford to get cocky. The pokes that will be taking on this final challenge are Popsicle, Froyo, Freeze Pops, Philadelphia, Sherbert, and Moosetrax. Everything rides on this. Let's make sure it wasn't all for nothing. The end begins with Sydney and his Dark-type team. I lead with Popsicle, who sets up the hail for free, and baits Swagger since she's a special attacker. They take the bait and do in fact go for Swagger after I switch into Moosetrax. And thanks to our held Persimberry, the confusion disappears while we retain a nice +2 to our attack stat. It should come to nobody's surprise that Moosetrax is now able to one-shot each and every one of Sydney's Pokemon for free. Next is Phoebe, but with the help of our black glasses, it's another easy sweep against her ghost types. We don't even need a Swagger boost. Just the same type attack boosted Night Slashes are enough, even for the Dusknoir. Man, Dusknoir deserves so much better. The third Elite Four member is Glacia. She is considered the peak of Ice-type trainers in Hoenn, but I'm here to show her and her Pokemon just how wrong they are. Did they defeat Primal Groudon? I don't think so. Did they? Popsicle and Glalie both set up the appropriate screens, but thanks to Popsicle's advantage in Ancient Power, we're able to take them out while taking minimal damage. Walrein is next, and Freeze Pops eats a hit on the last turn of Light Screen. One Thunderbolt from there proves to be a quick and surely painless death, which brings in Frostlass. After a couple full restores, Freeze Pops simply takes her down as well. Things get a little touchy with the second Frostlass and their Confuse Ray, So Froyo comes in to finish the job. You go, girl. Your snow cloak looks so much better. Last is Glacia's second Glalie, but he has nothing for Froyo, and we can power through a couple turns of confusion to get the win. Now we're officially the best Ice-type trainer in Hoenn. It doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but I've earned it. After that, it's probably very unsurprising that Drake's team of dragons are super easy to deal with. Altaria, Flygon, and Salamence are all 4 times weak to Moosetrax's Ice Punches. Kingdra and its water typing are the only things I really have to worry about. So Popsicle switches in on their Surf, but thanks to a held Pasho Berry, it does very, very little. They easily outspeed, so the next one brings us to the yellow, but a special 4 times effective Freeze Dry is the perfect kryptonite for Kingdra. And the final member of the Elite Four is defeated. We've got one last fight, and it's against him. I've put in a lot of time prepping, and have come to the realization that it's more than likely that not everyone will be making it to see the end. They've all put in so much effort in their own way, and it feels so cruel that our final roadblock is Steven Stone of all people. I'm still going to do everything I can to keep the death counter at 1, rest in peace Snow Cream, but my team knew the risks when joining me. They're every bit as ready as I am, and it's about time that we became champions. Steven's lead is Skarmory. I'd like for Freeze Pops to take them out before any spikes are set up, but sadly they would hold on with Sturdy. So instead, I take the opportunity to set up Substitute. They actually decide to go on the offensive, but thanks to our bulk and electric typing, Steel Wing needs multiple hits before it breaks our sub. That gives us plenty of time to bring them to their Sturdy, and forces Steven into wasting a full restore. Skarmory eventually goes down, but Steven only healed once. I was hoping he'd waste all of the healing by now, but we'll be fine. Aggron comes in next and lives a Thunderbolt without Sturdy activating. He's able to land a Stone Edge and break our sub, but because Steven refrains from healing once again, they fall a turn later. Claydol is out, and I wanted Freeze Pops to run Shadow Ball for this thing, but I found that it really didn't fit on the moveset, as the other moves were so valuable. Regardless, we land a Will-O-Wisp, and they set up Light Screen. Because we don't bait Reflect and are immune to Earth Power, Moosetrax is safe to tag in on an immune Extra Sensory. One Night Slash later, and they're done. Armaldo is a little tricky. It threatens my team with both Metal Claw and Rock Blast. I have some Babiri Berries equipped to help weaken the Steel-type moves like Metal Claw, but the Charty Berry won't be as effective for moves like Rock Blast that hit multiple times. My safest bet is to switch into Sherbert and rely on his bulk. When I do, the Armaldo ends up spamming Egg Scissors, which lets Sherbert safely take them out after a couple of surfs. Cradily is another threatening Pokemon, but it's still weak to Ice, and is gone before I know it. The final Pokemon, Metagross, finally enters the field. Honestly, I was expecting Steven to switch his team in differently, and my routing ended up not going according to plan. Sherbert can stay in and stall their Giga Impact with Protect, but there's no guarantee that they'll go for it again. Popsicle would resist letting me pivot, but I can't get much off of that. A turn later, another Giga Impact does in fact come out, and Sherbert isn't able to hold on. Thank you for spending your limited time with us. While Metagross is recharging, I have to take this opportunity to send in Freeze Pops and set up the sub. They break it a turn later with Bullet Punch, but I was counting on a miss from Meteor Mash or Giga Impact. Either way, we're able to land another Will-O-Wisp and cripple their attack. But sadly, Metagross still has a speed of 110. My other Pokemon could maybe live a hit, but definitely can't live 2, even with their Babiri Berries. It pains me to say it, but I have no choice but to leave the Groudon slaying Freeze Pops in to get taken out. Another Giga Impact, oh my gosh, Steven. Well, we're only 2 Pokemon down, but we are not out. I still have a Mega of my own, and Philly joins the fight, ready for vengeance. While they recharge, she fires off a super effective Earthquake, which leaves them in the red after the burn. Then, while their attack is still cut and we're sitting at full HP, Steven uses his second full restore. The burn is gone and Earthquake brings them down to 50%. Right after that, A hefty Meteor Mash lands on Philadelphia and easily knocks her out for good. Oh no. Popsicle is dead to any Steel-type attack, and Froyo's Babiri Berry could help her survive a Meteor Mash, but I don't really think her Hidden Power Ground will be enough to match Philly's Mega Earthquake damage. Everything once again falls on Moose Tracks, who can hopefully live a Bullet Punch with his own Babiri Berry, and hopefully is strong enough to take them out in one more turn. Moose Tracks has been very handy up through now, even though he's only been on the team for a short time. And I believe we could have somewhat managed this endgame without him, but now more than ever, everything is on Moose Tracks' shoulders. For one last time, he enters the field. We lock in the move. Metagross doesn't go for Bullet Punch, and the super effective Night Slash picks up the kill on Steven's Mega Metagross, winning us the champion fight, as well as the entire game. To be honest, I think I dodged way too many bullets in this run thanks to the faulty AI, and the fact that no trainer in the game has EVs, and Steven's Pokemon maybe had like 12 IVs shared between the 6 of them. I think things could have easily fallen apart on multiple occasions, but a win is a win is a win. I'd like to make a special shout out today to Keeper Plays, who did his own ice-only attempt on Emerald. His video was really interesting, and Emerald doesn't have access to Amara or Glaceon like ORAS does, so I highly recommend checking out his video. I wanted to do a type-themed Nuzlocke that hadn't been done before, and his rundown and journey inspired this playthrough a whole lot. I really appreciate all of you who have been sticking around and watching my videos, to the end or not. It really means a lot to me, and I'm glad I could share these silly little videos with you guys. Anyways, that's just about all I've got for today. I'll see you all next time, and have a good one.